Hello Form 6 students, this chapter 4 of Form 6 syllabus, Use and Abuse of Statistics. This part is cut into several portions, and each portion you can find the movie on the Moodle system. You can have a look on this movie and then you can learn from each part. Now the first part is about the statistical survey. And you have to learn the procedure of statistical survey. The first thing we need to know what we are interested in. That means we need to set the objective of it. And after we set the objective, we need to know what should be the target group, and we need to first identify. And after we identify which group should be our target group, we need to know what kind of question, what types of thing, that means the data we want to collect. And before we start to collect data, we need to list all the available resources. For example, say what should be the manpower, what should be the time limited, and even the amount of money we have in order to conduct this survey. And then we need to determine what kind of survey we want to do. For example, say we want to conduct a census or a sample survey. Census and sample, we will continue to discuss it in detail in the next part. And simply speaking, census, that means we need to collect all the data from our target groups. And sometimes the target groups is quite large, then we need to take parts of them to form a sample. And we just study what happened in the sample and what is the behavior for those sample. And this reflects the behavior in the census, and that is what we call sample survey. And after we decide whether we conduct census or sample survey, we still need to decide one thing. We need to decide what types of methods we want to collect the data. For example, say we collect the data from observation or from experiments, or we need to have some questionnaires to give to the target groups in order to collect data from them. And afterwards, we can start the collection process. And after we collect the data, we need to have some analysis. For example, say we need to plot some charts or graphs, and we try to have some implication or conclusion, such that we need to find out what types of things can be found from this data. And finally, we need to write down the reports. In the reports, it may include the data analysis and also the conclusion. Take this one as an example. For example, we are going to find out whether English for All Day is successfully held on the school campus. What do you need when you want to conduct this survey? Let's go through the steps one by one. The first step is the setting of objective. Of course, for this example, the objective will be we want to determine whether this activity is successfully held. And the next thing, we need to identify what should be our target group. Of course, for this topic, the target groups is all Sontakians. And then the next thing, we need to know what types of questions we want to ask all Sontakians in order to determine whether the activity is successful or not successful. So, of course, the data we want to collect should be the opinion from the Sontakians. And then we need to list out all the available resources. For example, we use a group of students to be the student helper to distribute the questionnaire. So for example, say we need 4 students. And the time limited, we take 2 days to collect the data. And also we need to set a budget. For example, say in this case, we can set 200 for the printing of the questionnaire. And then the next thing, we need to determine whether we conduct a census or a sample survey. So if census, that means as our target group is all the Sontakians, so census survey, that means we need to distribute the questionnaire to all the Sontakians. If we just conduct a sample survey, for example, say we can select 5 representatives from each class and just give them 5 questionnaires for each class to conduct these surveys, and also we can have the sample survey. And also we need to determine which methods we should use if a sample survey is used. Okay, and also there are different kind of sampling methods. So for these parts about different kind of sampling methods, we will have another section to talk about it. And then we need to prepare the questionnaire to collect the data from this group of students. And then after we get all these data, we can have some analysis. For example, say we need to plot some kind of graph, bar charts, something like that. And finally, we have some findings or suggestion or even some comments from the students we can find out from the questionnaire. So we need to have some analysis or the summary about this opinion, and then we can have the report. So students, that's all for the first part about the procedure of a survey. So students, can you find out your example for a survey such that you can list out all the corresponding things in these steps? Please try to give an example to your math teacher.